Hi, I'm Dr. Edward Orgel. I teach saxophone and chair the music department at Westfield State University. I'm delighted to be with you for this project. We will discuss the audition piece for the Western District Festival auditions. But first, I'm going to highlight a few general things about playing a wind instrument and performing in general that you may want to consider as you prepare for your district audition and as you practice saxophone in general. Let's talk about sound first. It really doesn't matter how many correct notes and rhythms you play if you do not have a beautiful sound. The saxophone can create a really beautiful sound, but only if you play with a lot of air support while keeping your embouchure only as tight as it needs to be for the reed to vibrate efficiently. If you do not move the air, you will have to pinch the embouchure to get the reed to vibrate, and this creates an unpleasant, brittle sound. I'll demonstrate on this etude that I was playing at the beginning here. So I'm going to play with too little air, but the saxophone will respond if I pinch the reed, right? I hear that a lot when I listen to auditions like the one you're going to do. And the reason it happens is a saxophonist kind of plays with the same amount of air that they normally breathe with, right? So if I just exhale, it's a very passive process. And if I use the same amount of air pressure to play the saxophone, I really have to pinch the mouthpiece to get it to sound. And what happens is that creates a pinch sound. So if I loosen my embouchure just a little bit and tighten up my abdominal area and create more air, support the sound with a lot more air, I can loosen up my embouchure. Much richer sound and warm, right? So remember, only as much pressure as you need to get the instrument or get the reed to vibrate with a good supported air. Okay, let's talk about technique now. Keep your hands and shoulders relaxed, right? I like to let them fall by my side like this. Practice slowly with a metronome set to a tempo that is only as fast as you can execute the fingerings perfectly. It's probably slower than you think. Consider practicing only the fingerings in this way for a while so you don't have to think about them when you begin to make music. Let's talk about intonation. No saxophone is perfectly in tune. But when you're playing by yourself, if you know what the music is supposed to sound like and you can sing it to yourself, your body should make the necessary adjustments just like it does when you speak, right? Listen to examples of this music and just make sure you have a good mental image of what it sounds like. And then don't concern yourself too much with it. Just make it sound like you want. Have a good mental image in your head. Articulation. We're looking for precision here. So the articulations are very well marked in the music. That's one of the reasons why that music is selected. So make sure you play them all. An accent means that the attack is one dynamic level louder than the body of the note. It doesn't mean to play louder, the entire note louder. So just keep that in mind. Only one dynamic level louder. Dynamics. Again, there are dynamic markings in the music. You need to overplay them in order for them to reach your audience, right? So keep that in mind. It may feel like you're doing the dynamics, but in order to convey that to an audience, you really have to overdo them. So it may feel like you're overdoing it, but I assure you are not. I do this with my students all the time where I ask them to really try to overplay the dynamics, and I've never had a student actually come across as overdoing it. So keep that in mind. Expression. This is a big one. So don't be afraid to be moved by your own playing. Find an emotional connection with the music. Try associating it with something or someone in your own life that really has deep meaning to you. It's okay to really enjoy your own playing. In fact, it's important that you do, because if you don't enjoy it, your audience won't. So. These are challenging etudes. Actually, when I saw them, I was actually kind of surprised how hard they were as far as the level of general level of the student in high school. So Begin to learn them in manageable chunks using a metronome set to a much slower tempo than you think you can play them perfectly. For both pieces, when you first begin to learn them, set the metronome to 60 beats or slower, marking the 8th note at 6 and 8 beats per minute respectively. This will make the 32nd notes in the andante and the 16th notes in the allegro manageable, so you can really understand how the rhythms relate to each other. Practice playing relaxed and confident with a beautiful sound at this tempo, whatever tempos you're comfortable with, and with all the expressive indications and articulations. Once you have the etudes learned at a slow tempo, use the metronome to gradually bring up the tempo over the course of weeks, not days, right? Take your time. When I listen to an audition, or any performance for that matter, I would rather hear a piece played relaxed and confident with a beautiful sound and all the articulations and expressive indications played in a natural way, but perhaps even a little down tempo, than I would hear a piece played at a marked tempo with a pinch sound and a frantic approach to the music. Whatever tempo you choose to play, it cannot sound like you are struggling. Nobody wants to hear that. In order to do this, you must learn the piece at a tempo where you are relaxed and confident. If you practice playing relaxed and confident, you will learn to perform that way too. Once you have the piece learned, you can play around a little bit with the tempos at cadence points so you can breathe. I'll demonstrate what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to set this metronome. It's set at 57. That's really slow. But there are 32nd notes in this etude, in the D minor Heinz etude. So if I'm marking 8th notes with that metronome, right, there's only 4 per beat. They're going by pretty slow. This is a lot. This is manageable. You can even do it slower than that, but you're understanding how those 32nd notes relate to the other notes in the piece. So the beginning of the piece would sound very slow, but you can be very expressive with it. Etc. I'm going to move on to the other etude, which is much faster. But marking the 8th note at this tempo, it's quite easy. Etc. Now, I can play it at that tempo much more relaxed than I can at a faster tempo, right? And so every time I play it at that tempo, I'm able to relax. I'm practicing relaxing. I'm practicing playing the piece relaxed. So that allows me to approach it faster, but yet still relaxed. And so on and so forth. I don't want to play the piece all the way through because you have to interpret the piece as you see fit. But it's really important that you capture everything in the music that you can see there. All of the articulations, remember, they're very well, they're very clearly written on the piece of music. So thank you very much for checking out this video. I hope that these tips were helpful. Good luck with your audition. We can't wait to see you at Westfield State.